First of all, if you can just take us through, just how important a point do you think that could be considered against Sheffield Wednesday the other night?
Well, I think we were pleased with the performance, pleased with the commitment levels. We created some good chances in the game. Unfortunately, we weren't able to take those chances, and against the ball, we were well organised and defended well. You know, we stopped a good Sheffield Wednesday team from creating any chances in our box. Had some good shots from distance that Jonas dealt well with. But no, on the whole, I think it was a good performance, and we left Hillsborough on Tuesday evening proud of our efforts, and you know, we've quickly turned our focus now to tomorrow night's game against West Brom.
Is then the big concern for you at the moment the fact that going forward you're not firing on all cylinders?
Well, we've been short of goals since the restart, but since I've joined, really, as a team that's been in and around the relegation area all season, we've always had goals in us. You know, normally you find teams that are in and around the relegation zone tend to find it hard to find goals, but we've always had goals in us up to this point, and even in the games since the restart, you know, we played Nottingham Forest. I think our expected goals was nearly 3. Game against Birmingham where we scored 3 goals. I think our expected goals was nearly 5, and it was probably definitely the game that we've created the most chances this season. We created chances against Sheffield Wednesday. We just lacked the final action, but we have huge belief in our attacking players, and obviously we've got Carl Grant who carries real goal threat and has scored consistently for us all season. But it's up to the whole group to be able to contribute in that area, and that's obviously what we're looking for come tomorrow evening.
So overall, how would you describe the mood amongst the players at the moment? Is everybody positive?
Yeah, I think we're focused at the job at hand. The games are coming thick and fast, so we've been in the building 24/7, and the boys have enjoyed each other's company. There's definitely a spirit of togetherness that is growing, and they're fighting hard for each other.
The fact is, though, you're going to have to really pull something special out of the bag against West Brom to start with, and then Millwall. Obviously, your final 2 games, the fixtures haven't been kind to you, really, have they?
Well, the 2 games that we're looking forward to, for sure. I think they're 2 really good games. Obviously, there's a lot for West Brom to play for at the top end of the division, and there's also obviously a lot for us to play for. So I think it's a great game to be involved in, and it's certainly one that we're looking forward to. We accept that probably we go into the game as underdogs, but we've done well against the teams at the top of the division, and it's a game, like I said, it's a game that we're going to embrace, and we're going to try to find a way to get on the right side of it.
To what extent are you now sort of going to be looking at results around you and hoping for some results to maybe start going your way?
For us, it's about putting the energy into what we can control, and what we can control is our performance. And we try not to become too outcome orientated, even in our own performance, let alone other people's results. So for us, it's about getting the process right. And we know if we get the process right, then we can accumulate points in the next 2 games. And if we can do that, then we can achieve what we set out to achieve when we first arrived.
And just finally from me, any injury concerns or selection headaches ahead of this next game?
No, obviously it's a quick turnaround again, but where previously we've got used to playing every 2 days, because we'd obviously in the 5-game period that we had prior to Sheffield Wednesday, we'd played on the Sunday, so we'd started that schedule a little bit later than everyone else. Then we played on the Wednesday. Then we played again on the Saturday. Then again on the Tuesday, and then again on the Friday. So we've been used to a 2-day turnaround. The players are actually reporting that they feel better than maybe they did going into the Luton game last week, which is good. And for us, you know, West Brom, it's also their 3rd game, but they've had a day less than us in this sort of 3-day cycle, if you like. So they've had three games in 6 days. So it's slightly tougher for them than us. So hoping that we can gain an advantage physically there, and we need to try to make the most of that.
Danny, how much have you spoken about getting that first goal, breaking the duck, and how big a thing is it within the squad at the moment?
I think for us, we're focused on the process. We have scored goals all season. We've got players with high level quality in the top end of the pitch. We know we can score goals. We know we're creating chances, and for us, it's just about trying to stay focused for the players. It's always we always, as a coach, you work on getting the players to the final third. We just need that little bit of quality in our final action, and we believe in ourselves, and we believe that will come.
I know there's a lot of chatter around it at the moment. Is it a psychological thing for the players?
Well, it's easy. We live in a world where we all focus on the negatives, don't we? The positives are that defensively we've kept a number of clean sheets since lockdown, and I think defensively as a collective we've done very, very well. And that's not just about a goalkeeper and a back four. That's always an 11-man job, and we've defended well over a number of games now. We've been pleased with that aspect of our play. We've been pleased with some of our approach play. Sometimes our build has been a little bit slower than we would like it. We'd like to try to move the ball quicker, cut the number of touches down, a bit more speed in our passes. That will encourage our attacking line to keep more positional discipline, so we can then hopefully create the penetration that we need to break these teams down that we're playing against. But for us, no, it's we've worked with our players. Most of the work now is off the field, because there's only so much you can do on the field when the games are coming as quickly as they are. But we like I said, believe in our players. We have confidence in them as human beings and as footballers, and we're looking forward to the challenge of West Brom on Sky Sports. We didn't feel that we did ourselves justice last Friday when we played in front of the Sky cameras, and we'd like to show them the best of us come tomorrow evening.
With that in mind as well, you must take confidence from the performance that was shown against Sheffield Wednesday. Yes, it might not be the 3 points that you wanted, but we certainly felt that there was a response from the Luton game in that, and taking that forward defensively, it might put you in good stead to get maybe a surprise positive result against West Brom.
Well, I think it was a good performance. It was a good response. It was a very different game, the Sheffield Wednesday game, to the Luton game. The West Brom game will be very different to the Luton game. West Brom obviously will come to us having to win. They probably felt like they'd done enough to be promoted prior to lockdown. They were in a very, very strong position. Obviously, since lockdown, Brentford have been on an unbelievable run, just an incredible run. Found real form and a real rhythm in their play, and I think we've won now 8 on the spin. So they'll be looking over their shoulder. They're a good football team, but they need, they play with a real creativity and a rhythm, and they'll be looking to try to find that come tomorrow evening. But while they're finding that, and they have to open up and try to come at us, that creates opportunity for us as well. And like I said, we're looking to try to find the best version of us. And we thought it was a good performance and a good response on Tuesday against Sheffield Wednesday, and our aim is to try to build on that come tomorrow evening.
Would you settle for a point tomorrow evening?
I think when you're playing a top team, there's always 2 results that you can go for. Like always, we'll be trying to win the game. There's no doubt about that. We go into every game with a game plan and a way of trying to win the match. But no, we're respectful of West Brom. We know that they are where they are in the league for a reason. But the focus is very much on us and how we can get to our levels. And we know that if we can get to our levels, both in possession and against the ball, then we can compete against anybody in this division.
I know we've mentioned this before, but is it almost inevitable now at this stage of the season to be drawn into the Championship table and look at the if, buts and maybes? Is it inevitable now?
I think people will, no doubt. I know my daughter was watching the results yesterday, and she was pleased with one of the results, not so pleased with the other. But I know she got excited towards the end of one of the games. For us, it's, we're focused on what we can affect, and as soon as we start turning our attention to things that are outside of our control, we're wasting energy, and we're not in a position with the games coming as quickly as they are to waste any energy. So no, for me, it's about us doing our business, and we've had a target that we've been working towards all season. That hasn't changed. Probably as we get closer to the end, the league becomes clearer, and we know exactly what we need to do to stay in this division. And the great thing for us is that we're playing a top team tomorrow night. We enjoy being an underdog. I think I've spent my whole life being an underdog. It's a story that I know well, and it's a great opportunity, particularly being ahead of the fixtures. We can get a positive result and put the pressure back on the teams around us.
It feels like it goes almost without saying, but how important is it that Huddersfield Town remain a Championship club for the fans, for the squad, for you yourself as well?
Of course, that's been our aim since we come in. We know how important it is, first and foremost for the football club. Let's forget us as people, because we're kind of irrelevant in it all. It's always about the football club, and wherever I've worked, all of my thoughts, all of my interest, all of my focus has always been on trying to help the football club. And we picked up the football club in a very, very difficult moment. And we've now put ourselves in a position where it's in our hands with 2 games to go. I think after the start that we had, that has been an achievement, but it won't count as one unless we get it over the line. And that's what we'll be looking to do in our final 2 games.
The EFL confirmed yesterday what this summer's transfer window would look like. Firstly, what did you make of the time frame that's been set out?
Yeah, our focus has been on the here and now and what we can affect. We've seen the guidelines that the EFL have sent out. It seems sensible in the unprecedented circumstances that we find ourselves in, and yeah, we'll work around that when we're in a position to have more clarity as to what division we're in, more clarity as to what the budget will be, and then we'll be able to, we've done a lot of work behind the scenes in terms of planning. But at the moment, they're very loose plans because we're still waiting for clarity. And like I said, at the moment, rightly so, all of the focus is on the game against West Bromwich Albion tomorrow night, and then it'll be quickly turned to Millwall on Wednesday. Nicky and I will go to London on Saturday morning and watch the Millwall game. We watched them against Hull. So we'll be doing everything in our powers to prepare the team as best as we can for what are two extremely important games. I
suppose you've really almost answered my next question, but can you afford yourself any time with this relentless nature of the fixture list to plan beyond the end of this season and look at the long-term future of Huddersfield Town Football Club?
Well, I think we're looking after the long-term future of the football club by putting all of our focus into the here and now, and that's what we're trying to do. We got in from Sheffield Wednesday about 1 o'clock. I think I watched Fulham v West Brom to about 3 o'clock, and I left for work at 5 o'clock in the morning to get into to prepare the clips for the Sheffield Wednesday game that we just played in, so that the players can take some learning from that. what the schedule is at the moment. It's really busy, but we're lucky because we love football, and work's only work if that's what you perceive it to be. So we feel in a really fortunate position, and we've worked very hard to get to this division, and we want to stay in it. And I know for the football club how important it is that we retain our status, and that lives with me. And that has lived with me since the middle of September when I took this job. Every single day, it's been at the forefront of my mind, and that will continue to be our focus until we've achieved what we set out to.
Final one from me, Danny. We've been doing a lot of numbers crunching here, trying to work out what ifs, buts and maybes, as I've said already. We've become very aware that if Leeds win tonight, that a lot of the Leeds United faithful could become Huddersfield Town fans tomorrow. If you take points against West Brom and Leeds win, you could be sending Leeds up. Were you aware of that?
Well, I think we could both do each other a favour, couldn't we? So I suppose we could be the closest of enemies. And I think if we can do Leeds a favour tomorrow night, and they can do us a favour against Charlton, then Yorkshire will be a pretty happy place come the 23rd of July. And listen, rivalry is always good. I think it drives standards, and where would football be without rivalry? So it's always something that I think we should embrace. It should always be, conducted in the right manner. But for me, it's never a bad thing.
Cheers, Danny. The best of luck for tomorrow.
Thanks, Jamie.
Talked a little bit about the game, and obviously the importance of it. What is your approach, Danny? Do you do a Brentford stroke Preston and keep it tight, or do you just go for it with nothing to lose? Will it help that they have to come at us?
Well, I think for every team, that we play against, the game plan is always slightly different. You're always aware of what the opponent's ammunition is, and how they play, and the areas of strengths, but also the areas where they're vulnerable. And it's up to us to try to find the right game plan to nullify their strengths and exploit their weaknesses. This is normal for us. It's always how we work, and it's certainly how we'll be preparing for tomorrow evening's game.
Yeah, Slaven Bilic has been quite vocal, like yourself, about the schedule, and he was, basically complaining that it's 5 games in 13 days for them, I think. But yes. Most important, you've said that they feel that they realise the importance of it, and they are bang ready. Are we bang ready?
Yeah, we're prepared and we're focused. It's like I said, for West Brom, it's an important game. I know that Slaven Bilic has spoken quite openly about the psychology and how he's helping his players to deal with the pressure. It's a game that obviously they have to win. They've got Brentford that are coming up fast behind them, and have been on a remarkable run. But for us, it's about us, and it's about trying to put all of our energies into the performance. And I always feel the big games, the players, the big players are, it's the ideal opportunity for them to find their best performance when the team needs the most, and that's what's great about a big game. The best players are able to do that, help their team when they need them most, and we're going to try to pick a team of big players tomorrow night that will allow us to get on the right side of
it. Looking through the West Brom team, you'll have obviously picked out some dangers, but one sort of prominent one that people talk about seems to be Dean Garner, who's a guy I guess that you know a fair bit about. How much of a test is it going to be for Harry Toffolo?
Yeah, well, Dean Garner has played off the right and the left in recent games. So I think in the Fulham game he played off the right. Grzycki played off the left. But the majority of the season he's played off the left as well. So They've changed who they've played on the right quite frequently since lockdown. Changed slightly the way they play. Earlier in the season they were the 4-2-3-1 with Pereira playing as the 10. Now some of their principles mean that they look more like a 4-3-3. So there's a slight tactical shift. We actually felt that we did quite well when we went there earlier in the season. It was, I think, our second game mid-September, end of September. We were obviously 2-1 up at half time, and it was a game where we were organised against the ball. We'd obviously caused them some threat on the counter attack, and managed to get in a good place in the game. And then second half, probably at that time, physically we weren't just able to cope with the demands of that intensity of a game, and just fell off a bit, unfortunately. But we were pleased with a lot of the work that we did in the early part of that match. Like I said, West Brom have made some changes themselves, personnel-wise and tactically. So obviously tomorrow night's game will be different, but it's a brilliant game. You know, for me, it's what I live for. These matches, yeah. This is it. You know, lots at stake for both teams. Playing a top team with a top manager, and it's just a great game for us. And the challenge always, you know, under the most pressure, when your back's right against the wall, can you find your best performance? How exciting is that? The opportunity to be able to do that, and that is what we're striving for tomorrow evening.
You've talked about it being a squad game because of the schedule, not just because of the schedule, but simply the demands of the running, etc. The other night you only used the 2 subs, Chris Willock and Fraser came on, which left, you know, Bakuna, Pritchard, Quana, potential game changers on the bench. Danny, what was you thinking there? Why did you only use the 2 subs?
Well, I think it was a tight game. There was not too much in the match. Tactically, it was a game of chess, and we'd felt that we were causing them threat on the counter attack, so we didn't want to lose Emil because he carries such a counter threat for us. We'd just had a really good chance for just after Fraser had come on, and we felt that where the game was so tight, it was hard to bring players on in key positions. So we made that call. I think Carlin picked up a bit of a bag on the knee with about 12-15 minutes to go, and so we kind of waited for a little period to see if he was going to recover. And then once he did that, we decided to stay with where we were at. And yeah, there's many different ways to win football matches. You know, I think since the restart, most games we've used our whole bench. So it's always, you know, I only believe in making subs if you think you're going to get significant gain, and it always depends on where the game is at. But we felt like we were in a good position in the game, and sometimes when you're in a good position and you feel that you have some momentum, then you decide to stay with the players that are already in the game, rather than taking the risk of bringing people and taking a little bit of time to get into the match.
Yeah. You just mentioned Carl on there taking a bang on the knee. Is he okay?
Yeah, Carlin's fine. He's trained today, so he's fine. He's a robust boy.
Right. You've mentioned earlier about the fact that you want your big players to have big games in the big matches. Where do you assess? We haven't talked about him much in recent times. Where do you assess Jonathan Hoggies at the minute?
Yeah, I think Hoggy was excellent against the ball on Tuesday night. He was at his physical, competitive best. He brings a real fight to our team. He's a winner. He's a fierce competitor. And we were really pleased with his performance on Tuesday. He's actually got himself into a good rhythm of games, which has been really good, and he's surprised us with his ability to be able to back the games up and play as much as he's been able to, with we've tended to withdraw him if we're behind in games to try to save his legs. But yeah, no, we've been really pleased with his contribution.
Yeah. Have you noticed an extra spring in the step of Chris Willock, Danny, with it being West Brom and the fact that he had a spell there without getting a game?
Well, Chrissy is a young player that obviously had his education at Arsenal and then went to Benfica. Had a really good experience there. Come back to this country, and what you have to remember with Chris, you know, he played for West Brom. He's just a young player. It was his first real experience of senior football in this country. He didn't play as much as he would have liked to at West Brom. There's no doubt about that. You know, he's arrived with us, and again, remember, he took nearly a 60% wage cut to make the loan possible, which is an incredible thing for him to do as a young player. Shows you how hungry he is to be successful.
Yeah.
And we were incredibly proud of him for doing that and showing the willingness to do that, because he wanted to prove that he can play at this level. Now we know he's capable of that. He's got real talent. We're trying to find, you know, we're trying to help him with his game to try to give him a level of consistency, which all young players need help with. Because once you do get experience, you learn a way of getting a level of performance out yourself week in, week out. But he's got incredible talent, real ability, and he has, you're right, he's got a point to prove. And we have to decide whether that's from the start or whether that's impacting the game as the match commences, and that's a call that we will make.
Talking of a lone player, and then you've got a squad. It's sort of fringing on the question that Jamie asked earlier. How difficult is it for these lads like a Chris Willock of the other loan players that we've got, and also the ones who've been out on loan, Danny, in this time of uncertainty? What do you say to them all, or should they simply? Some of them have got a chance to go out there and prove what they can do and maybe put themselves in the shop window. Others haven't. So how do you have those conversations with both sides of that equation?
Well, I think as a collective, we've got a cause, and that's important, and we're all fighting towards that cause and for that cause. It's difficult for every human being, isn't it, at the moment? There's a level of uncertainty that this pandemic has created. So I think all of us feel some anxiety as to what will happen next and exactly how it will all unfold. That's just natural. I think always when anyone feels any level of anxiety, the best thing you can do is to talk, and that's what we try to do. Our doors are always open. They say a problem shared is a problem halved, and it's always good to have clear communication with your players, and you then gain a better understanding of exactly how they're feeling. And you know, some of the young players are not so good at speaking about their feelings, so it can be a good education for them as well to speak and to better understand why they're feeling like they're feeling, and then, you know, it's our job to try to help them and put them in the best possible state of mind to be able to perform at their best.
Yeah. The couple of lads who were out, like for instance Ben Hamer and Adama, who are still playing, still out on loan. Do you have to put that element of business to the back of your mind until we've done with the football?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're trying to affect the players that are available to us in these next two games. Their games are coming around so quickly, as we all know. So, you know, you'd be foolish to try to focus on anything other than the here and now with the significance of the next 6 days. You know, all of our energies, all of our focus are on trying to find two performances in our next two matches that allow us to achieve what our goal was when we first arrived.
Is the planning, therefore, Denny, is it very limited what you can actually plan with any of those players whose futures you don't know whether they're going to be at Huddersfield Town or not?
Well, beyond that, we need an understanding of what division we're in. We need to understand what the budget will be, and then we need to you know, we have an understanding of where they are at, and I have an understanding of where their contracts are at. And the football club will then make some decisions to support where we are come the 23rd of July. You know, there's conversations that's been had about the future of the club and where we're going. But for us to be able to finalise any plans, we need more clarity. And let's be honest, we won't be the only club. I think there's, you know, the Championship 2020-21, I believe there's maybe only 6 clubs that are definitely in it here and now, and 3 of those are promoted from League One, and 1 of them relegated from the Premier League. So it's that division, isn't it? You know, there's a lot of clubs that could still get relegated or still get promoted. It's a crazy division, and they're crazy times.
Just a final one for me. Ordinarily at this time, Danny, we'd be looking at games in pre-season. And you've had Tommy Elphick out for much of the campaign. How exactly is he? Is he close to playing again?
Yeah, Tommy's working really hard behind the scenes. It's a lonely road when you've had a cruciate knee injury. He's had long-term injuries before, so he has lived it before. He's a great human being. He's had a real influence even when he's been injured around the place. He's the type of kid that makes the building a better place for his existence and for his for him as a boy. He's you know, he's supported the younger players. He's been a shoulder to lean on for some of the experienced players. So no, we're, you know, probably he's one of very few people that maybe has actually benefited from this situation, because it means that he's now not going to miss as much football next season. Because obviously the 2020-21 season will be put back by at least a month, if not more. And yeah, no, he's progressing well, which is a real positive. And we've missed him on the grass. There's no doubt about that. But like I said, his presence has certainly been with us in and around the place.
Yeah, what work is he actually doing, Danny?
Yeah, he's running. It's a slow, long road from a cruciate. So yeah, he's doing a lot of strength work. He started to do some more power-based work now, which obviously involves really loading the knee and changing the direction. And he's just starting to be in and around the ball work as well. So no, he's making good progress. And like I said, our hearts are certainly with him, and we're hoping that he'll be back for the beginning of next season, if not very, very close.